The SS Sicamous, which sits on the beach of Okanagan Lake in Penticton, BC, has a history which dates back to 1914. Now known as the SS Sicamous Heritage Museum, this beautifully restored steamship was once one of the only ways for people to travel from Penticton up to Okanagan Landing. This SS Sicamous was launched May 19, 1914, with its inaugural excursion falling on June 12, 1914. Sicamous means shimmering water, which is a fitting name for the waters of Okanagan Lake in which the ship journeyed. The Canadian Pacific Railway built sternwheelers to supplement the areas where the railways did not reach. Since roads between Penticton and Okanagan Landing were very rough, traveling by boat was the only way to get around this region. The use of sternwheelers was good news for the people in the Okanagan. Having a sternwheeler meant that the travelers could go between towns with ease, and those communities that were otherwise cut off were now able to receive supplies and mail. The SS Sicamous was by no means the first steamship to provide these services. The Aberdeen and the SS Okanagan both provided such services before the Sicamous, but these ships were not as grand as she was. The ship had 3 decks besides the main deck and pilot house. It carried 310 passengers and had 37 staterooms and 4 saloons, in addition to the dining saloon, which accommodated 48 persons at a sitting. In a busy season, there were as many as 43 passengers and crew. Throughout the years that the SS Sicamous ran the length of the Okanagan Lake, many different men served as her captain. Captain J.B. Weeks was the longest reigning and perhaps even the most renowned captain of the steamship, with a career with the Sicamous that ran from 1922 to 1935. Often Weeks would invite children up to the wheelhouse to let them blow the whistle. He also enjoyed the company of passengers and would entertain guests of his wheelhouse with his bag of tricks. Although Weeks was the longest-running captain of the SS Sicamous, it was Captain Ludlow Estabrooks who commanded the ship on her maiden voyage. As he navigated the ship from Okanagan Landing to Penticton, he stopped at various ports and called, "Come aboard and take a free trip." This was met with much enthusiasm, and passengers came aboard from Okanagan Landing, Kelowna, Peachland, and Penticton. There were many more men than just the captain that it took to run such a ship. Positions in the ship included officers, a purser, cooks, stewards, firemen, mates, deckhands, and express messengers. Most crew members shared a room with 3 beds, with 4 men to a room. Because of this strenuous work, the shifts were only 4 hours long, and the men would take turns sleeping. Many people saw the Sicamous as a luxury ship, and those who wanted a little bit of luxury would purchase a berth on the ship. With an early morning departure of 5:30 a.m., some passengers found this to be an ideal way of traveling. The Sicamous only did day trips and docked overnight in Penticton, so passengers who would purchase the berths would arrive at the ship when it docked at approximately 8:30 p.m., and they would sleep in the ship overnight. The Sicamous was used for more than just pleasure travel. In April of 1916, the ship was filled with local young men who were to be shipped to the Vernon Army training camp to be trained for their participation in World War I. Crowds of well-wishers sent the men off at the dock. Upon the arrival of the men from the war, the dock was again filled with crowds to greet them. The Sicamous did more than just transport travelers. It brought mail and supplies to its various stops, and those who wanted the ship to stop simply put a flag on which would let the captain know they needed the ship's services. Materials such as ore were also transported. With the Okanagan being a prime region to grow fruit, many orchardists used the Sicamous as a way to transport fruit from their orchards to the train. This was made easy since the train tracks ran right along the dock for Okanagan Landing. In the 1930s, with train service available along the length of Okanagan Lake and with increased use of traffic along the lake due to the highway which was built in the 20s, passenger use of the Sicamous dwindled. On January 4th, 1935, the Sicamous made its last passenger trip. From then on, the ship would be used only for freight and did so till 1936. In order to cut down on fuel use, the ship underwent massive renovations, removing some of her upper decks. In July 1937, the Joyo Club rented the ship for a conference, which carried conference guests from Okanagan Landing to Kelowna and back. After this, the Sicamous stood largely forgotten, docked at Okanagan Landing, until it was sold to Penticton for $1 on June 24, 1949. On August 27, 1951, the Sicamous was towed to its final resting place on the shore of Okanagan Lake in Penticton, where it still stands today. Since this time, the Sicamous has been used as a restaurant, a venue for weddings, and various events. Sicamous. Next year, in May of 2014, the Sicamous will celebrate its 100th birthday. A beautiful steamship with a rich history will no doubt see a wonderful celebration. Captain Weeks said of the Sicamous upon its retirement, "When stern wheelers were withdrawn, the comfort and joy of water travel enjoyed by the people along the shore of Okanagan Lake for half a century passed into history. The dawn of a speed-mad age has stolen much of the joy and peace and the beauty from the very life of the lake, things that can never be replaced by bus or car, train or plane."